Kansas has been jolted by a strong 4.5 earthquake that has been felt by thousands, I would say tens of thousands, because of the fact that over 3,500 have already reported feeling it. How many thousands? Let's see. We'll see that together. But it's changing every few minutes. 3,028 reported it to USGS. A 4.5 at a depth of 5 kilometers, about 3 miles down. And we've been reporting on this every few days because we've seen a huge uptick in earthquakes. It's not just a 4.5. Even south of that, we've had 1.8 today and 1.8 again in Oklahoma. A series of 1.8s just today, 1.9. And it's in the area of the mid-continental rift. Kansas, we know, has kimberlite volcanoes, which are diamond-spitting volcanoes. There is a huge magma plume that is sitting on top of the Great Lakes. That's known as the Keweenaw Fault. It's an area that was beginning to rift over 1 billion years ago. This is the magma plume. The element of the magma plume head is right there around Lake Superior. The western branch goes right through Kansas, Oklahoma, goes all the way down to Texas, and the eastern arm goes around Lake Michigan, basically touching towards the New Madrid Rift Zone. New Madrid Seismic Zone, the Real Rift Zone. It should be called New Madrid Rift Valley. But right now we're talking about the quakes that are taking place in Kansas, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Texas, and okay, I'm not going to talk about Iowa, but that whole thing is a rift valley, and the geologists don't know where that magma is coming from. All they know is it's there. So we'll keep that in mind as we now go and look at the maps together. Okay, here we are at Seismo Berkeley, and this is our area right here. This is our 4.5 earthquake, 5 kilometers, that's 3 miles depth. And these are the blue are today's earthquakes, the red are the past hour. This is Lake Superior, Lake Michigan. This is right here. We've had a couple of earthquakes as well here lately in Canada. And if we go to the Canadian earthquake map, we even had bigger ones. Okay, let's go to the map. Hopefully it'll come up soon. Okay. You see how big these are? Not that one, that's a 2.6. The other one is even bigger. Where is it? Okay, that's a 3.2. The other one I think was a 3.5. Okay. That was a 4 magnitude. That's a 4 magnitude in Quebec. Okay, so you can see that has quite big quakes as well. That's the New Madrid seismic zone. That's the Canadian earthquakes you can see here is Vancouver Island, the big ones. And this is just, I think, what was it, today or something? 2.7, 2 days ago. Okay. Look at this here. Look at that. This is, anyway, that's another issue. So going back to the Seismo Berkeley, that's our map here. And this is a New Madrid seismic zone, which is another rift valley. That's cutting this part here, which is sloughing off towards the southeast. And then the second part here, which is being cut, is the mid-continental rift, which is about 1 billion years old. That thing is one of the oldest magma plumes on Earth. And the Superior section was much closer to Wyoming. Superior was much closer to Yellowstone before this Great Plain rifting. And it's thin. Rifting thin because it's got magma underneath and filling with sediment, but it's got magma underneath. And volcanoes as well. So we know that Kansas, let's go in a little bit more. Okay, that's Kansas, Arkansas River, Kansas. Okay, I remember when we had, a couple of months back, we had people from Kansas saying that they keep hearing all these booms and their houses are shaking and rattling. And they go out and they hear these booms, whereas there were no supersonic jets flying overhead, nothing that would make sounds like that. So we researched that. I researched that and found out the geology of Kansas. They've got this area here, has at least 3 volcanoes right here, 3 volcanoes. They're kimberlite volcanoes, and they're spitting diamonds and semi-precious stones. So any of you who live around there, go have field trips around there. Start invest in a little geology toolkit and little beautiful little hammers and little picks and things, and go take some, go and start digging. Go start digging for the diamonds. But we also have, I was shocked because I used to live in Montreal. That's where I finished high school. That's my accent. And Montreal has volcanoes, kimberlite volcanoes. So does Ontario. The Ontario quakes that we had the other day, this is what I was talking about, on the 17th, we found out that there were volcanoes around there. One of the super volcanoes was around here in Quebec. And that has kimberlite volcanoes spitting diamonds as well. Now, you'll see this. See this? This is the eastern seamount. 30 volcanoes underneath. Underwater volcanoes, 30. And they're pointing this way. And this, and Maine, we know Maine has 5 volcanoes in Maine, in this line here. 4 of them are in a 100-mile distance. So these pressures from this magma under here is pressuring here and giving us earthquakes here. And a couple of months ago, we had earthquakes even north of Lake Superior, over the Lake Huron and Lake Ontario. We even had them in upstate New York. Remember those earthquakes upstate New York? We even had one in Rhode Island. And around Boston, okay? All those earthquakes, they go off the map. They're not always on there, but we did report on them. I did make videos on them. And it's because, all this magma is pressuring here. And we do have faults here as well. We have faults here as well. We do have methane plumes there, just like we have on the West Coast. Methane plumes on the West Coast that they found around here. Well, we have them on the East Coast as well. But now we're talking about this. This here, I just want to ascertain that there is magma on the East Coast. Okay? There is also magma under this area. Remember that map, the horseshoe that we had, that red horseshoe over here? Well, there's magma. It's filled with magma. They don't know where the magma is originating from. They don't know where it's coming from. Now, we do have magma here. Okay. Puerto Rico, we know, is a volcanic island. The Greater Antilles, the Lesser Antilles are all volcanic islands. And this whole here is, and Mexico has a lot of volcanoes there as well, of course we know. Subduction zones, subductions everywhere. So I wouldn't be surprised if somehow this, later on, I'm sure, I don't know, there are not that many geologists that are studying, central and eastern United States geology as they are on the West Coast. Those are very well studied. I don't know if they will be coming up soon with information as to where that magma plume is coming from. It may be another hotspot because it's been there a billion years. So this is the mid-continental rift. Mid-continental rift. It's a rift valley. So let's go back to this And over 328 we said. 328. What's this? 333. Okay, every few minutes it's increasing. So it means that at least 10,000, at least, if not more, have felt it. Let's go to the aerial a little bit. We can see things better and pull out a little bit. Okay, it's around the Arkansas River, as we know. All rivers are fault lines. And since we're here, there is a crack. There's also a crack from Vancouver Island, going through Seattle, going through Yellowstone, and that's part of the crack there. And it ends up at New Madrid seismic zone. That crack is about 2,200 miles. And the New Madrid seismic zone goes this way, going from Mississippi, flanking Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, going out the St. Lawrence Seaway. Okay, so St. Lawrence is all broken up, basically broken up here as well, Lake Ontario, Lake Erie, and Mississippi, of course, broken up. So there's not that much to break, so that at one point in the future, the sea starts filling in this area, just like the east coast of Africa. Okay, that is also a rift valley, the Great Rift Valley of Africa. That at one point is also going to break off, becoming another landmass, just like Madagascar is. So this is what's happening here as well. Okay, it's stretching. It's stretching because there's magma underneath, and it's stretching, and that's how rift valleys take place. So this is where our earthquake is, in that area. Okay, let's go back now. We can read a little bit of the description here. Okay, the regional information. Most of North America, east of the Rocky Mountains, has infrequent earthquakes. Here and there, earthquakes are more numerous. For example, in the New Madrid seismic zone. See, they don't talk about the mid-continental rift at all here. At all. And this basically doesn't have that much to do with New Madrid. So New Madrid is over here and here. Okay, this is New Madrid. But this is definitely, in my book, that is mid-continental rift stuff. Okay. I'm not a geologist, but you know that's what we found out together when we were doing all this research. So, New Madrid seismic zone centered in southeast Missouri in the Charlevoix-Kamouraska seismic zone of eastern Quebec, New England, New York, Philadelphia, Wilmington urban corridor. However, most of the enormous region from the Rockies to the Atlantic can go years without an earthquake large enough to be felt, and several U.S. states have never reported damaging earthquake. I'm sure this was damaging. 4.5 in an area that's very soft can seem like a 6.5 to 7. I've told you before, my parents in Montreal and New York were architects. Okay, my parents were both architects. A lot of the buildings, the high-rise in downtown Montreal, my parents were working on those projects, and especially, and also New York. But my mother used to work for the company that did the Empire State Building, and all the buildings they were made after that were basically skewered diagonal fit to. And I asked her, why are all the buildings that your company, your architectural firm makes keep on a diagonal to the lot? Because most of them are, facing, the entrance faces straight on the street. She says, oh, we're always pivoted because our buildings always have to look at the Empire State Building. Talk about haughtiness and egocentric. All their buildings are skewered to face the Empire State Building, right? Anyway, that's the reason. But they told me that. Okay, first of all, the buildings, skyscrapers in Manhattan, they won't be able to stand over a 7 magnitude earthquake because they're all going to fall, because then they can't be built to withstand that. It would just be it would not be feasible to spend that much money on a building to have it withstand stronger than a 7 earthquake. Anyway, Montreal, the same thing. We said before, it's so soft there that as many floors that you're building above ground, you have to have basements underground because it's so muddy and soft. That's how soft it is there as well. It's soft. Now going back to this, earthquakes east of the Rocky Mountains, although less frequent than in the west, are typically felt over a much broader region than earthquakes of similar magnitude in the west. East of the Rockies, earthquake can be felt over an area more than 10 times larger than a similar magnitude earthquake on the west coast. It would not be unusual for a magnitude 4 earthquake in eastern or central North America to be felt by a significant percentage of population in many communities more than 60 miles from its source. A magnitude 5.5 earthquake, eastern or central North America, and we're talking about central here, might be felt by much of the population out to more than 300 kilometers from its source. Earthquakes east of the Rockies that are centered in populated areas are large enough to cause damage and similarly likely to cause damage out to greater distances than earthquakes of the same magnitude which are centered in the United States, in the western North America. So most earthquakes in North America east of the Rockies occur as faulting within bedrock, usually miles deep. Few earthquakes east of the Rockies have been definitely linked to mapped geological faults. Contrast the situation at plate boundaries such as California's San Andreas fault system, where scientists can commonly use geologic evidence to identify a fault that has produced a large earthquake that's likely to produce large future earthquakes. Scientists who study eastern and central North America earthquakes often work from the hypothesis that modern earthquakes occur as a result of slip on pre-existing faults that were formed in earlier geological eras and that have been reactivated under the current stress conditions. So, I'm not going to talk about induced seismicity man-made quakes because to me this is too big to be a man-made quake. This is on New Madrid rift zone. New Madrid. Mid-continental rift zone. Okay? Mid-continental rift. Let's go back and see the shaking. Because we didn't see the shaking. Let's put up the shake map. Okay, unfortunately, they only take in this square. So if you took it and extrapolated other squares, it would be much bigger, obviously, as we can see. As we can see. Okay. Did you feel it response? Okay, they're not. Okay, everybody, all these people around felt it. These are the people that reported feeling it. Okay. Oh, they even felt it down there. See, they even felt it down here. These are the people that reported feeling it. Oh, did they feel it over here? Okay, whatever. It was a big earthquake. It was a big earthquake. I would say they felt it in all of this block here. Okay, because as we said, it's soft. It's sediment and it's soft. And the population, let's see, population density. It's farmland, so it's not that populated as we can see. Let's go in a little bit more. Okay, here we are. Take off some things here. Did you feel it? Okay. As we can see, not that densely populated. And still, it was reported by over 3,000 people. So that was a strong quake. The thing is, I hope it's not a foreshock. Time will tell. Okay. So all of you who are there, please be very wary, be very careful and alert, because these quakes are on soft ground, and obviously you can feel them. 4.5. You could have felt it as if it was 6 magnitude or something on the west coast, which is pretty strong. And again, thank you for your support. Please ring the bell for updated videos, and please subscribe and share and comment. Thank you. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.